When I talked to our clients and I talked to our people, I realised it wasn't about how clever we were, and it wasn't about how good I was at the numbers. It was all about our relationships. So, yes, I'm Oonagh Harpur, and I have a series of roles as a chairman and non-exec in professional services and in charities and in government. And I got here through being a serial chief executive, running a big law firm, running a national entrepreneurship campaign, working in government, starting at the coalface, seeing how coal miners got coal out, right up till today, working with one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. I was born in Ireland and grew up in Cheshire. My father was a scientist and worked at a big chemicals company where he invented the chemical that made it possible to make hot water bottles. Because you could get rubber, but you couldn't mould rubber into a hot water bottle. And he made the Winnerfill, which was the powder that went in to make a hot water bottle. And I used to love going to visit businesses, to visit my father's business. And in those days, in the school holidays, we had a program where lots of parents organised for us to go and see companies. And I loved seeing the Guardian newspaper being printed and McVitie's chocolate biscuits being made. I just loved seeing that. But what I really loved was dancing. I danced 6 days a week and I taught at ballet school on Saturdays. And I also loved music, and I played the clarinet and I sang in the choir, and I had music every day after school. I always had some kind of singing, clarinet, orchestra, something. And then I go off to my ballet class or my dancing class. And then often I was rehearsing for a show as well, because I love being on stage. And that's what I wanted to do. So anyway, I thought I'd become a dancer. Then I thought I'd become a musician. But I realised I really wanted to be a soloist, and I wasn't actually good enough to do either of those. And my father said, well, you could open your own ballet school. And I said, oh yeah, that'd be great. And he said, well, you'd have to be, you're good at numbers. So why don't you become an accountant? Well, I really didn't want to do a boring profession like that. That's what I thought. So I thought, well, I'll do my numbers anyway. And then I thought, oh, actually, I'd like to be a meteorologist, because I was really getting interested in the weather and forecasting the weather and science. And I was actually really good at science as well. And then my music teacher said, hey, you could do both of these. You could combine science and maths and music and be a sound engineer, which I thought, well, that'd be great. Yeah, I could, I didn't know what a sound engineer was, but it sounded good. So she said, there's one course at one university. Why don't you go and ask them? And I went to see them, and they said, oh, yeah, that'd be great. Everyone who does this program goes into the BBC. And I thought, right, I'll apply to them. And I built in those days, building things was a lot easier, because you just had to get out your soldering iron and solder things together, because we didn't have electronics. So I built an amplifier for our record player to make the sound. And I went back to the university and said, I'm doing my A-levels. Can you give me an offer for a university place? And they said, oh, no, the BBC would never hire you. They wouldn't allow a woman in the sound engineering room because of the language. So we were not going to offer you a place. I was devastated. So I thought, oh, well, I won't become a sound engineer. I'll do something else. And I went off to university and I read maths and economics and played my clarinet and had a great time. I realised when I was running a law firm and a very good mathematician and economist, when I talked to our clients and I talked to our people, I realised it wasn't about how clever we were. And it wasn't about how good I was at the numbers. It was all about our relationships. And it was 30 years ago, I went to the board and I said, look, guys, what's special about us is our relationships, our values, the way we care for people and our clients. And I call this love and integrity in business. So when I became a chief executive, I was the first non-lawyer chief executive of a law firm. And that was how people thought of it and described it, because in the legal profession, you're either a lawyer or a non-lawyer. Now, by this point, I'd got used to being the only woman at my level of seniority, because I'd started in coal mining. I mean, women were not allowed to go down the mines to work. I could go down to see how it worked, and I could go and talk to the colliery manager about how he ran his business. And I'd learned that I was so unusual that men would listen to me. They were still very respectful of women. Although I remember when I did a leadership program with colliery managers, and these people were running huge, the pits employed 2,000 men. And I remember these men said to me at the end of the leadership program, Oonagh, we've never ever had to work with a woman before, except, only my secretary and my wife are really the only women I know. But when my daughter grows up, I want her to be like you. When I became a chief executive, the fact that I was a woman, I think really helped me, because for lawyers to accept someone running their business, their egos might have been quite badly hurt at the thought that it wasn't them if it was a man. But because I was a woman, was somehow a bit like, having someone take care of the housekeeping. And Mrs. Thatcher was in power at the time as well. And I think there was and I was a mathematician and economist, so I had a skill and a knowledge about running a business that they didn't have. So actually, I think there was just an acceptance that the fact that I was a woman didn't get in the way, and I think it probably helped. I quickly learned that if I wanted to get things done, I had to not persuade lawyers, because they were much better at arguing than me, but I just had to ask them good questions. Like, how do you suggest we do this? We need to be clear as a business. How are we going to prioritize between making more money and not being able to look after our people? How are we going to get the most out of this group of lawyers who now don't have enough work because the property market's dried up? And asking questions like that, I found the lawyers would come up with the answer and they'd argue with each other, and then I could help them distill those arguments and figure out what was the best thing to do. And that's how I got things done, was by asking questions, listening, facilitating, showing them what they were really talking about, and then helping them get to a decision. I think the most important thing in one's career is, and what anchors me, and I'm sure anchors everyone, is being clear about your purpose and your values. Who am I? Why me? Why do I exist? What am I here to do? Who do I serve? Who do I want to serve? What do I value? Who do I value? So our purpose and values. And my purpose is to promote and inspire love and integrity in business. And the purpose of everybody is different. We're all different. But always I'm anchored in my purpose and values. So that would be my advice. Take time out to think about, who am I really? What matters to me? In this period of lockdown, what am I doing with my time? Who am I talking to? What is it I'm really valuing when I'm on TikTok? What is it I'm saying? Am I encouraging people? Or am I criticizing people? Have I got an incisive mind that gets through things and helps people see what really matters? Or am I using my incisive mind to be critical of people in a negative way? What is it that really gets me out of bed in the morning. It keeps me awake at night. Those are the ways to find out what are my values and who do I value and what do I value. Get the feedback from around you. Ask your parents, ask your friends, ask your aunties and uncles, anyone that you know, older people, younger people. What is it about me that makes me different? And write it all down. You know, just think about it. Draw pictures about it. And as you do that, you begin to understand yourself better. And it's that self-awareness that will make you a better friend, that help you build better relationships, because your purpose and values is the anchor, but how you relate to other people is going to be critical to your success in life. I have this beautiful instrument.
Wow.
So this is an American Indian flute, and at the front it's been carved with a dolphin's head. And then the other end is like a whale. And it used to have two fins on which it stood, but unfortunately those broke off. And the top is carved with fire going through it. And here we have the cowrie shells for the sea. So it represents earth, air, wind and fire. And because I played the clarinet, I found that it was such a it's a very big instrument, and I was great at playing Mozart and Brahms and classical music. And one day I was in America and in a Pueblo village, and I walked into this house and it was covered with instruments and this music was playing. And I picked up this instrument and I just felt I can express myself. I can be, well, I was starting to use my clarinet with an audience where we'd have a round table of group discussion and getting people to talk together, and I'd use my clarinet to help people reflect. Well, this I could play much more easily because the American Indian tradition is you play the sounds of nature. It sounds like, you can make it sound like a bird or the wind, and you can feel how a group is sinking and play into that. And so that's why I love this instrument and wanted to play it, because I'd realized as a chief executive that I couldn't control everything. And playing classical music is very controlled. And I wanted to be expressing my own soul through my own sound. And this allowed me to do it.